Hello, my name is Amaru Bustamante. Today I'm going to demo our Shopify to Retail Pro integration via our PortalMX retail integration platform and, in particular, our ShipMX order management and fulfillment web application. Shopify is a popular e-commerce platform and Retail Pro is a popular retail management system. We currently support Retail Pro 8, Retail Pro 9, and Prism RIL. As part of our PortalMX solution, we can send products, web content, prices, and quantities from Retail Pro to Shopify, and we can send web orders, web sales, and customers from Shopify to Retail Pro. For today's purposes, I'll be showing you a typical fulfillment scenario that consists of placing an order via Shopify, allocating and fulfilling the order via ShipMX, updating Shopify statuses, and inserting invoice, customer, and transfer slip records in Retail Pro. I'll start with the Shopify admin. Now, in your own case, your customers will be shopping via your own beautiful website where they'll add items to their shopping cart and check out there. Now, those orders wind up in the Shopify admin as you see here. So for time's sake, I'll take a previous order and I'll duplicate it, which is Shopify's term for copying an order. I'll go ahead and click on the last one. I'll choose duplicate. I'm going to go ahead and add a discount. Let's do 10%. And let's charge shipping. We'll do ground. Pay with a credit card. And we'll make the billing and shipping the same for time's sake. Great. So the order has been placed in Shopify. It's been assigned order number 1173. Notice the status is payment is authorized but not charged, and the order is currently unfulfilled. If we scroll down, we'll see some of the details there, like the discount that we gave, the shipping. And you'll see in Shopify's timeline, which is where they keep track of the history of the order, that the order was created, that there was an authorization for $489.94, and that an order confirmation email was sent to just in time. Now that went to my email address. So if we go ahead and check my email, you'll see that in fact there is an order which has arrived. And there is the email from Shopify. Let's go into ShipMX. I'm going to go ahead and refresh the ShipMX screen. And you'll see here on the left-hand side, we have what's called an order listing. If I click on any of those orders, I'll see the order details over here on the main section of the screen. And we'll see things over here in the order listing, such as the order number, the date, the status of the order, the type of order, and the allocation places. You can filter for an order. So let's say, for example, 1166. And there's order 1166. I can also sort by any of these columns. Right now, I'm sorted from newest order to oldest. Let's go ahead and change the sort order. And now notice I'm sorted from oldest order to newest. And I'll go back to newest to oldest. We can do a search by status. So for example, if I want to look for orders which are in fulfillment, and all I have to do is key in part of the text. I don't need to type in the whole thing, and I can see orders that are in fulfillment, which are also known as open orders. For the purposes of today's demo, we're going to be looking at ship orders, which are orders that you deliver directly to your customer from your fulfillment location. But we do also support buy online pickup in store orders, and reserve online pickup in store orders. Looking over here at the order details, we'll notice a few things. There's the order number, which was assigned by Shopify, the dates, the order type, customer name, email address. If we go ahead and click on the email address, that will launch your native email client and automatically populate it with that email address, which will make it easy for you to send an email to your customer if you so choose. Now notice the ShipMX screen has refreshed and the order is no longer in status new. The order status is now in fulfillment. In fulfillment means that the order has been allocated. And by allocated, what we mean is we have assigned um, all or some of the lines of the order to be filled from particular fulfillment locations. Now you may have only one fulfillment location that you're filling your orders from, or you may have many. In the case that you have many, we can work with rules where we have, for example, the notion of a basic order allocation, where you tell us which order you want us to check your location. So, for example, check store 3 first. If they don't have it, then check store 1. If store 1 doesn't have it, then check store 4, and so on and so forth. Looking here, we can see that this order was allocated to store 1 and store 3, which you can also see here in the order listing indicated by the 1, 3. This order has been allocated to 2 different locations. Coming back to the order details, the sold from location indicates the location that will get credit for the sale, which may or may not be the same as the fill from location. Over here in the charge info, we see the total details that we got from Shopify, including the discount and the shipping amount if there was any. We'll also look at the payment, and you can see here we received the authorization token, the last 4 of the card number, the card type, and the status. Now this payment has only been authorized. It has not yet been captured. Some retailers choose to capture 100% upfront, and other retailers choose to simply authorize the payment at the beginning, and they will wait to capture the payment until after they know that they can actually fulfill the order. Billing and shipping info. Returns, if there had been any. Obviously this is a new order, so there haven't been any return transactions yet, and hopefully there wouldn't be. In the fulfillment section, you can see uh, information that would make it easy for a customer service person to know the disposition of this order. You can see that it's been allocated to multiple locations, and you can see the details of the locations here in the line status. You can see the last pick, packed, and ship status. What that means is anytime there was any activity on the order in relation to pick, pack, and ship, you'll see that there, the shipping method, and if there was any parcels that had already been sent. Down here you have the order lines. The order line, you can see which location is responsible for fulfilling that line, what's the type of order, product details, quantities, and other amounts. And if we click on a line, notice that will expand to the unit level. This line happens to have a quantity of 2, and therefore there's 2 units. And you can see even at the unit level the detail of when a product was, for example, pick, pack, settle, and ship. We'll see that later. So we have a few options with this order, and we could choose to manually override the order reallocation. We can pick a different location. So for example, if we wanted the order to all lines to be picked from one location, we can do that. I'll leave it as is, and I'm going to proceed to pick the order. So notice the status at the line level changed to in pick all. That means that somebody is working on picking the products. Notice over here in the fulfillment section that the activity changed. If we click on the units, we can see at a unit level the date and time of when that pick started. You can print a pick ticket. The pick ticket is an internal document. This is intended for your internal use that you can give your picking agent so that they know which items to pick. And optionally, if you print this as a hard copy, you can have them write in, for example, how many units they actually picked, maybe have them sign the pick ticket and add any notes if you like. Next, I'm going to pack the order. So once the order has been picked, you'll take it presumably to a packing station where you're going to put that product inside of a box that will eventually be shipped to your customer. So let's go ahead and declare that order packed. So notice the status again has changed to packed. And again over here you can see the pack status. I'm going to go ahead and print the packing list. So the packing list is a customer-facing document. This is something that would go together with the package, either on the inside of the box or affixed to the outside. The packing list can have your logo on it. It can have details about the order, the item details, and, for example, your return and exchange policy and instructions for how to return. So coming back to the payments, again, notice that the payment status is only authorized. It has not been captured yet. So let's go ahead and charge the order. Now that we know that we have the product and we're ready to fill it, we can go ahead and do that. Now we do support the ability to partial capture, but for this example, we'll go ahead and charge the entire order. Great. So notice that the status of the order has changed to capture. I'm going to go ahead and click back into Shopify, and let's refresh the Shopify screen. Notice that the status has changed from authorized to paid. And if we scroll down into the timeline, you can see that PortalMX captured that order. Let's go ahead and declare the order shipped. So we have two options. One is a non-integrated option where you can manually enter a tracking number. And the other option is integrated. For example, if you work with EasyPost, we integrate with them. And all you have to do is enter in the weight of the package. You can also choose the package type, which is automatically populated based on the carrier. You can only pick UPS packages. You wouldn't, for example, be able to pick FedEx packages for a UPS carrier and vice versa. We'll go ahead and enter the weight. Notice we have pounds, ounces, or kilos. I'll go ahead and enter in the pounds, and notice that we automatically recalculate the other fields. Optionally, you can enter the dimensions of the package in terms of length, height, and width. I'll go ahead and hit confirm. And what we're doing here is in real time hitting the EasyPost shipping gateway. We've received the tracking number, and we can go ahead and print a label. So this is the label that you would be able to print and affix to the outside of your package. This is a sample tracking label. Great. So now that we've done that, notice that the status has changed to shipped all. If we had only shipped, if we had left even one unit off of that order, the status would say shipped partial instead of shipped all. Notice over here that we now have a tracking number populated. If I click on that tracking number, that would take me to, in this case, the UPS website. If it was FedEx, it would have gone to FedEx. If it was United States Postal Service, it would have gone there. And what's happening at this point is we're connecting to UPS, and we would go ahead and reach that site. Apparently, it's currently unreachable. Let's see, it's refreshing. And there it is. So this is a test tracking number. Had it been legitimate, you would actually see the tracking status. Let's go ahead and click back into the Shopify order. I'm sorry, before that, just notice here that if we click on parcels, if you need to reprint that shipping label, you can always do that as well. And there it is. Let's go ahead and click back into Shopify. And again, let me refresh that page. And notice the status is now changed, not just paid, but also fulfilled. We shipped the order. So if we scroll down to the timeline, you'll see that PortalMX captured the payment. You'll see that the items that PortalMX declared as fulfilled, and that a shipping confirmation email was triggered. Let's check my email. And indeed, I did receive a shipping confirmation, And notice that the tracking number is there as well, so that the customer themselves, when they get that email, could go ahead and track the status of their shipment. So what we've seen up until now is placing an order in Shopify, consuming that through ShipMX, and fulfilling it, pick, pack, charging, and shipping that order and seeing it dynamically update Shopify. Next, let's see how it updated Retail Pro. Now, up to now, we've been working in Shopify and ShipMX, which are both cloud-based platforms. But unlike those platforms, most Retail Pro users are using Retail Pro on-premise, meaning that they have an instance of Retail Pro installed on some uh, physical or virtual server that is within their own control, and typically deployed at the various locations where they work. It is possible to deploy Retail Pro in a cloud-based architecture, but for the most part, we see on-premise. So what we've done is we have gone ahead and sent some transactions. So let's look at that. Let's go to sales. Let's go to receipts. And the last order that we worked on was 1173. And here you'll see in Retail Pro, there is receipt number 1173. Customer is just in time. And if we look at the form view, we'll see the details. There's the customer. There is the receipt type, the receipt number. Notice that we inserted the record with cashier as web. This is one way for you to distinguish a web-based invoice from a brick and mortar invoice. That's especially useful if you are combining web sales with brick and mortar sales into the same Retail Pro location. Of course, if you had a distinct Retail Pro location that was dedicated to your web sales, that wouldn't necessarily be needed. But in any case, that is one way we can do it. We can also, for example, use the POS flags or the comment fields or potentially some other options. Notice here that the products from the order are are in here. And if we scroll over, we can see the discount. If you remember, we had applied a 10% discount when we placed that order in Shopify. And so you see that reflected in Retail Pro as well. If we look at the shipping, we'll see had there been a shipping amount, it would have been displayed here. And there's the tracking number. And let's click over to the tender. There's the tender amount. And we can see there was paid for by Visa. And you can see the last four of the card number, which is all you'll see in Retail Pro and or in PortalMX for PCI compliance. So this looks just like any other sale in Retail Pro, which will allow you to report on it. You've now decremented your inventory and increased your sales. Now, if you remember, we talked about the notion of sold from. Sold from is the location that's getting credit for that sale. So we had declared that store 5 was getting credit for that sale. So notice that that invoice was booked into store 5. But if you remember, we also selected different locations as the fill from. In other words, the inventory would be pulled from different stores in our network of stores. So if we look at the slip section, notice that 2 slips were created. One slip transferring merchandise from store 1 to store 5, and another slip transferring merchandise from store 3 to store 5. If we go ahead and click on one of these, we'll see that the comment section indicates the receipt number. And here are the 2 units that were transferred from store 1 to store 5. And on the other slip, the other UPC where merchandise was transferred from store 3 to store 5. This allows you to do just-in-time inventory where you're pulling stock from any of the stores in your location, transferring them to a web store, for example, and giving that web store credit for the sale, deducting the inventory from the stores who you pulled it from while keeping inventory accurate across the board. Now, besides the invoices and the slips, one last thing to show you is the customers. Now, the customer on that transaction was Mr. Just in Time. And there he is in Retail Pro. So if you notice here, customer just in time has been created in Retail Pro, just like any other Retail Pro customer. We can see his details there. You can see some statistics. Here in Retail Pro, you can see some information about him, including his email address, average sold quantity, average sold dollars, items, total transactions, total units, and so on and so forth. If we click on his history, we'll see his full history. And you can see here that we see his web sales together with his brick and mortar sales. And again, one easy way to tell is, of course, different locations if we had a dedicated web store, or as I mentioned before, the cashier web is another way to distinguish that. Going back into ShipMX, let's go ahead and click on that customer ID. By clicking on the customer ID, that takes you into the customer module. We could have just clicked into the customer module and done a search as well, but this is an easy way to do it. So I want to show you here the IDs. We keep track of the customer IDs in all of the systems. So when Justin was created in Shopify, Shopify assigned him an ID, and we keep track of that. And when that record was created in Retail Pro, assigned a SID as well as a customer ID, and we keep track of that. So if we go back into Retail Pro, notice that SID is here and that customer ID is here. We also keep track of the addresses that have been referenced by this customer on any order, and we keep a full history trail of all of the orders that they've been on. So far this customer has been on 2 orders, has purchased a total of 8 units for a total of $1,007.10. And if we click on any one of these, we can also see the bill to and ship to address on an order by order basis. You can see the date of the order, the status, the order ID, the tracking number, fill from locations. In this case, we know that these orders will fill from multiple locations, total quantity, and total amount. If we want to see the details of any particular order, say that Mr. Time has called and said, hey, what's the status of my order 1173? Well, we can let him know that he should have received the tracking number, but we can always resend that to him if we want. We can click on the order itself to show the details. There's order 1173. We can let him know that that order was shipped on April 29th at 1:09 a.m. And again, if we wanted to, we can click on that email and we can go ahead and email him that tracking number. So, as you've seen, in addition to updating Shopify, we're also updating Retail Pro with the invoices, the transfers, and the customers. We can also update it with sales orders and with vouchers as needed. So that is a typical Shopify order fulfillment scenario. There are several other scenarios and features available, which we're happy to show you. So go ahead and contact us to set up a personalized presentation and demo. Until then, thanks for watching and be well.